This video will share steps on how to start a travel host agency, and I'm Joni Ogg. Creating a host agency is a great way to grow your travel business and is certainly a viable option to consider. The concept of host agencies is well established and makes a good deal of sense for home-based travel agencies that want to enjoy a substantial opportunity. The question becomes, how do I start a travel host agency? If you're thinking about starting a host travel agency to serve independent travel agents, you must carefully consider exactly what your value proposition will be and why it will be of interest to travel agents in light of all the quality host agencies that they already might have to choose from. And while this may sound like a daunting task, there are hundreds of thousands of niche host agency possibilities for smaller agencies to focus on. The challenge becomes identifying and planning for a niche market that could attract independent agents to send their clients to your host agency. Ideally, you would have an existing agency that specializes in a profitable travel niche and are already creating enough revenue for suppliers to be one of their top accounts. Or you could work through another host agency and also be at an expert level in your niche. Either way, you should be able to create a strong value proposition to attract independent travel agents who are looking for your expertise and your specific value proposition. And making the assumption that you already have an existing agency and have developed a niche and have a level of expertise that would allow you to take on less experienced agents who need mentoring and support of an expert in the niche, here are the steps that you should take to create your travel host agency. Long before you launch your host travel agency, you will need to completely understand the financial motivation for doing so. Making the assumption that you intend to specialize in a niche that you already have expertise in, what are the financial realities of the niche, and what is it going to take to entice effective travel agents to work with your host agency? Here are some financial elements you might want to consider. Consider that the niche that you'll specialize in, what are the average internal yields that can be developed? The internal yield is the confluence of commissions, overrides, and promotional support from a particular supplier. Knowing your average internal yield is mandatory for supporting a host agency. If the yield is too low, it might be likely that the concept will fail. What level of commission are you going to pay agents that affiliate with your host agency? Your commissions are a major reason that independent agents will be attracted to your host agency. And while most host agencies refer to the commission amount paid as a percentage of the commission earned, such as a 70-30 or an 80-20, how are you going to offer the commissions that you pay for your ICs? Remember that your portion of the commission must cover your cost of operating and your profit, which is why the internal yield is so very important. You're also going to need to structure your fees. Most travel host agencies have monthly, or quarterly, or annual fees to affiliate with the host. Now, these fees play an important part in establishing your business, and as they provide a separate revenue stream in addition to the commissions. So if you're offering CRS or GDS or booking portal access, is there going to be a fee for that as well? And also, is there a fee for providing a consumer website for affiliated agents to use if you're providing one? Operational fees may also be applicable on extra services an affiliated agent may require from your operation. And as your internal yield grows, so does the commissions paid to your independent contractors. Considering that just about every IC could book directly with a supplier and realize a 10% commission, understanding the progressive nature of commissions as they relate to internal yield is critical to your success. So let's say you have your ICs on a 70-30 split. The commission paid on a transaction at 10% would be 7%. But the internal yield reaches 15% and the commission then becomes 10.5% paid to the IC. Now, this is why ICs will join your travel host agency. At 20% internal yield, the commissions become 14%, and so it progresses. The higher the internal yield, the higher the commission. And each independent agent that works with your host agency will need to execute your host travel agency independent travel agent agreement. You should always seek the advice of a competent attorney familiar with independent contractor issues and the travel industry to create that agreement. The agreement will document every detail of the business relationship with the IC, and it will protect both of you. Following are some of the more important issues that you may want to have appear in your contract. Carefully identify all parties to the agreement and include formal mailing addresses and social security numbers and so on. If you're entering into a contract with a corporation, try to identify the key person with whom you should be communicating. Be as specific as possible when defining the actual purpose of the agreement being executed. The more definition you can insert, the better the agreement. Avoid ambiguous statements of purpose, as they may be used to decide the intent of subsequent paragraphs in the agreement. An independent contractor agreement must have a specific term to be valid. You may want to incorporate a rollover clause so that the term is automatically renewed when the term has elapsed, or you may want to renegotiate at the completion of each term. Just be sure that the term is well defined. And spell out as many of the specific duties of both parties as can be identified. If the agency has made a commitment to perform training, education, maybe quality control, or some other special function on your behalf, it should really be detailed here. And the agreement should state clearly that the working relationship between you and the agency is one between an independent contractor and the agency. Issues such as non-exclusivity, tools of the trade, control by the agency, risk of profit or loss, place of work, and so on should be detailed here. The more complete the description of your independent contractor status, the better it is for both parties. The agreement should clearly state that all commissions paid to the independent contractor will be reported on an IRS Form 1099, and that the independent contractor is responsible for reporting income on the appropriate IRS schedules and for making the appropriate federal, state, and local self-employment tax deposits if necessary. The exact commission split, override split, and any other monthly rental charges should be detailed as well. The timing of payment of commissions and the method of payment should also be specified. Resolution of potential disputes over commissions should be considered here as well. A detailed statement of who owns the accounts brought into the agency by the independent contractor must be made here. And who is going to pay whom for what? Is the agency going to require you to collect from your client and then issue your business check to pay the agency for the services? This is sometimes best if you're dealing with multiple suppliers and you don't want to confuse your clients by having them make checks out to several companies. If your agency is receiving checks directly from your clients, what is the agency's policy for holding client funds? Do they operate a trust account to protect your client's funds should the agency fail? If you're doing groups through the agency, demand that the funds are held in a dual signature trust account so that you have some security. And credit card sales must be processed through the agency's ARC weekly settlement report or their merchant account or through the supplier. What is the agency's policy on paying commissions on credit card sales? If a credit card charge is subsequently denied by a client, what is the agency's policy on collecting the funds? Do they expect you to cover it and then collect from your client, or are they willing to help you? All of the issues regarding payment should be considered, as should the resolution of potential disputes. Include an indemnification clause specifying in what instances each party will indemnify the other for loss created by their errors and omissions. If the agency issues an airline ticket for the wrong date, surely the agency should correct the situation. Conversely, if you issue a reservation on the wrong date, you should correct the situation. And dealing with the resolution of these issues in advance is a way to be sure both parties act in the best interest of the other. And both parties should try to agree in advance to miscellaneous operating fees that may be assessed on certain types of transactions, such as minimum commission levels, service fees, ticket reissues, voided tickets, invoice fees, special services, maybe like delivery or airport pickup, courtesy reservations for hotels, frequent flyer awards, and coupons. These all cost the agency plenty of money to perform, but they're not offset by revenue. So is there going to be a charge if the agency performs these tasks on behalf of the independent contractor? And if so, how much? If the travel agency is going to include the independent contractor on their IATA and agency registration list or make other travel benefits available to them, what is the criterion? A complete agreement regarding the extent of benefits the independent contractor can expect should be made, as well as the procedure for obtaining the benefits. And include a statement that both parties will comply and remain in compliance with all local and state and federal laws during the lifetime of the agreement. Further, if your particular state has a tour promoter or a travel agent registration law, be sure to mention your compliance here. And include various legal clauses regarding the contract. And if the agency is in a different state than you are, where will the disputes be heard, and under which state's law will the agreement be interpreted? Do you wish to choose arbitration rather than going through the courts? If part of the agreement is unenforceable, should the balance of the agreement be null and void or enforceable? Who pays attorney's fees in case of a dispute? Your attorney can interject phrases to deal with these issues to both parties' mutual satisfaction. So here are some of the important takeaways today. Know and understand your value proposition. What is your financial motivation and your plan? Create your host travel agency independent contractor agreement and comply with local, state, and federal laws. Thank you for watching this short tutorial on how to start a travel host agency. We really hope you've enjoyed it. Why not give it a like or a share? And if you would like to know when we release future tutorials, why not subscribe to our channel?